This next question about the ideal time span for a vision is also so important. It's one that I get all the time. So there's a few different aspects to this. One piece is that I want you guys to keep in mind that visioning is sort of like an accordion. You can stretch it out or you can condense it, and that's one of the most powerful pieces of a vision. So that means that you can have a long-term vision. You can also have short-term visions as well, and I'll kind of get to that short-term visioning piece later on with a question that's coming up. But when we're talking about this question, it's more in terms of that long-term vision. So when you're thinking about that long-term horizon, that long-term time span, I typically recommend a 5-year vision. And there's a reason for that, and one of them is because when we have a 5-year vision in place, it really gives us enough time to really open our minds to what we could create in half a decade. At the same time, it's not so long that it just feels kind of really way too far in the future for us to even kind of think about. Very early on when I started my visioning business, when I started True North, I was working with a client and we did a 10-year vision, right, for her. Now she ended up completing that vision in 4 years, but I haven't done more than a 5-year vision since, and that's because I realized that, again, once you get past kind of that 5-year mark, things kind of get so hazy and so out in the future that it doesn't necessarily feel like it's connected as much to us. It's harder to connect back to the day-to-day, especially we're in year 1 of that 5-year vision. So one of the reasons that I always like to do that 5-year vision is because it really represents a big shift in age and stage for you and everyone else in your world. And it covers sort of a formative, again, era or half decade in your life. Really opens you up to so many things that you aren't even expecting or couldn't even possibly imagine when you're sitting down to write the vision right now. So when I've done my visions, they've always been those long-term 5-year visions. Now, there are times when I recommend a 3-year vision. And that is when I will sort of put the question to the group that I'm working with, or the individual visionary that I'm working with, and I'll say, what feels right to you, that 3-year horizon or the 5-year horizon? Now, if you feel like you have all these things that you've been working on, personally and professionally, and they're all sort of starting to take hold, and you really have just that excitement, and you really feel like you want to just be able to get things moving and see them come to fruition, and you really feel like you're just looking at 3 years out, maybe you have a big milestone in your career or in your life, anyway that's going to happen in that 3-year period. Maybe you know that things are going to really change rapidly in your business, or you're going to sell your business, or maybe something you're going to move at that time frame, or you're going to maybe start a family in that time period. Whatever it might be, if you feel like all these kinds of things are starting to happen and that 3-year time frame just feels right, then do the 3-year period. Right, and I can't remember who said it, but there was somebody who sort of talked about this idea of, we often underestimate what we can do in 1 year and the other way around. We overestimate what we can do in 1 year and underestimate what we can do in 3 years. So 3 years is, again, a large enough time span where you can really open yourself up to creating so much in your life. Now, on the other hand, if you feel like there are so many things sort of simmering under the surface for you, but they're going to take time to unfold, they're going to take time to really create in the way that you want, then again, that 5-year vision is going to serve you really well. Now, some people have said, okay, well, what about, a 2-year vision or a 1-year vision? And again, in a later video, I'm going to be talking about much shorter term visions. But when we think about the long-term horizon, I would recommend no less than 3 years. And that's because a vision is not about the how. It's not about how you actually get there. That comes later when you create the roadmap and work backwards from your vision, create the roadmap, and start working towards it. Now, if you have a 1-year vision or a 2-year vision, it can be really easy to sort of get caught up in the how. So if you think about it, you might kind of hold yourself back from all that you might want to express in your vision, because subconsciously, maybe even without realizing it, you're going to start to maybe think things like, well, I would love that. Oh, but, that's 1 year. I'd have to start that next month, and there's no way I could get that done. In 6 months, nope, there's no way I could do this because I gotta do that. And it's sort of like, again, getting bogged down in the how. So that's why for that long-term vision, I recommend either that solid 5-year, half-decade-long vision, or the 3-year, again, if you have that kind of excitement, you're just ready to pounce, and you feel like that 3-year horizon really just feels right in your gut. Now, again, in a later video, we'll be talking much more about very short-term visions because they can serve you in a very different way, and one that's equally as powerful.